guys, welcome to my channel. My name is ReadingBear and I hope you are ready for some more stories. And today, we'll take a look at some new IDontWorkHereLady content. If you enjoyed my content, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and post some bear emojis in the comment. And now, let's dive right into the stories.
The first story is titled "Give Me That Funky Wheelchair Now." A little background on me so you understand the serious situation this whole thing put me in. About 6 years ago, I wound up with several health conditions that all interacted with one another, creating a domino effect of health problems. During the course of those 6 years, plus this current year, I have been hospitalized for no less than a week at a time, 15 times. Despite getting most of the conditions stabilized, I have a few more hurdles to overcome, those being 1. A heart condition where my pump capacity is at 35% and requires me to get a pacemaker, plus 1 leaking valve, and due to the low pump and all my hospital stays, I've lost almost all the strength in my legs to where I toddle wobble walk with a cane. But to truly retrain my legs, I need to use a rollator, a stroller with 4 wheels and a seat. Also, my legs are so weak, I don't have the strength for the lift or push of the legs to get me upstairs, and more especially getting off the floor or ground if I fall. Once I'm down, and it takes about 2-3 men to help get me upright. So, one day I go to a store to grab some food and medical supplies. Won't say the store's name, but they usually wear Smurf-colored vests. I slowly toddle walk into the store, and that day I am wearing black jeans with holes, bright red suspenders to hold the pants up due to all the weight I've lost, a white short-sleeved dress shirt, and a very bright and loud red, green, and goldish colored plaid vest. I haven't even made past the security sensors when I'm suddenly grabbed from behind a woman who looks like she's never worked a day in her life and done up to the nines, so she looks like she should be shopping at high retail stores in New York or Paris instead of this local place. I'm going to call her Snooty. I know they usually call these ladies Karen, but my bonus mom's name is Karen, and she has never treated me badly, so Snooty it is for me. Thus the playbill for this little production is going to be M's me, S equals Snooty, SS equals store security, SM equals store manager, and of course, kind of piecing together what I remember of the argument/conversation. As stated, I didn't even make it past the security sensors at the building entrance when S grabs me from behind by my right elbow and attempts to spin me around. I shift as best I can, rollator and all, and see this highfalutin lady with an exceptionally annoyed look on her face. S. Excuse me, did you not see me try to flag you down? How could you miss us? You walked right past me and my crippled daughter. Her daughter isn't crippled. In fact, all she has on is a brace boot around her left ankle and foot. M. Lost in a little bit of confusion. I'm sorry. I thought you were waving at someone you knew in the parking lot. Do I know you? S. No, you don't, but you should pay attention to customers when you bring in the handicapped items, such as that wheelchair. I flagged you down because my daughter needs it. M. Stammering a little. I'm sorry, but this isn't a wheelchair. S. Yes, it is. This store provides them for handicapped customers, and you need to do your job and give this one to us. M. That's not my job. In fact, I don't have a job. I'm in the middle of getting approved for disability. S. Really, what a world. Anyone thinks they can get away with lying and excuses. Just give me the wheelchair, and I'll be nice and won't report you. M. I don't work here, lady. S. Yes, you do. You're wearing a vest and this is one of the store's wheelchairs. She places a hand on one of the bars on my rollator and grips tightly. M. No, I do not work here, lady. I'm a customer. I'm not wearing the right kind of vest. This item doesn't belong to the store. It's not a wheelchair, it's a rollator. And the store doesn't provide wheelchairs. They provide scooters which are located behind you. Let go of my walker. S. Attempts to jerk the rollator from me. I'm going to report you for being rude to customers, especially ones who are handicapped. You're not following the ADA laws. That'll get you fired for certain. M. Pulling back on my rollator. Again, I do not work here. This doesn't belong to the store, it belongs to me. It's not a wheelchair, and your daughter isn't handicapped. She has an ankle brace on, probably meaning she just twisted or sprained her ankle. Grab her a scooter if you want, but leave me alone. S. More lies. More lies. I'm taking this wheelchair, and I'm going straight to the head manager to have you fired. What happens next is a tug of war, to the best of my ability, between myself and the lady with my rollator. She eventually does something kind of intelligent, and she pushes on one of my pulls, which causes me to stumble backward, eventually tripping over my own feet, and boom, down I go to the floor, landing on my right butt cheek and my shoulder and head slamming to the floor. I'm in a tremendous amount of pain. The room and my head is spinning. The lady is saying something to me in scolding tones, shaking her finger at me, but my head is ringing. I'm now short of breath, so I don't really hear her nor understand her. She huffs and walks away, and I was told she was slightly cursing as she was having troubles trying to push her daughter around in the wheelchair. Note: relators are made so you walk facing the seat, thus the handlebars face out away, not from behind the seat. Several minutes go by. Folks are trying to help me get up. Finally, there comes in a gentleman, and I believe his 2 sons, all of whom look like they could be professional linebackers, who managed to get me up and escort me to one of the benches just inside the entrance doors. Just a couple minutes more and the store manager and a security guard come walking up to me with very stern looks upon their faces. "SM, we understand you were trying to take a wheelchair from a handicapped customer, and that you were glancing up and down at me, well, obviously, attempting to pass yourself off as an employee of our store." Me: "No, I was trying to come in here to buy some groceries and medical items, when this woman accosted me, telling me I needed to give her my relator." SS: "Well, this woman said you tried to manhandle her to take it away from her." I explain my medical conditions and how it's impossible for me to be able to manhandle anyone at the present time or foreseeable future. The man and sons who helped pick me up informed the manager and security that I had to be picked up off the floor, that I had no leg strength as far as they could tell. After this, the manager and security looked me over and then looked at each other with expressions that said this needed to be looked into further. The SS called for another security officer to have him or find the lady and her daughter and bring them up to the front of the store. When they arrive, Snooty starts right on in. "You got the right, or should I say the wrong man? He needs to be fired now, and I have a good mind to press charges against him and the store for his assaulting me." SM: "Ma'am, I can't fire him as he doesn't work here." "Yes, he does. He's wearing one of your vests." SM: "You mean a vest like this?" He raises up a side of the vest he's wearing. "It looks nothing like our vest, ma'am. It also doesn't have our name nor our logo on it." Well then, he tried to impersonate an employee so he could attack the disabled. I still wish to press charges. SS: "Ma'am, he says this stroller is his." This is not his wheelchair." It's not a wheelchair, but she owned it. She'd know it's not one. Also, if it was hers, why does she have my wallet and prescription list in the basket under the seat? That shows why you're not the owner. There's no basket under the seat. The SS politely helps up her daughter out of the relator and onto a bench seat, walks over and flips the seat up, revealing a little basket, which contains my wallet and my newest list of prescriptions to order. Now looks up wide-eyed and somewhat terrified. SS tells his partner to make sure doesn't go anywhere. SM and SS proceed up the staircase to the manager and security offices. They are gone for about 20 minutes and then come back. SS informs that the incident was all caught on camera and proves she's the one who started everything, accosted me, and then walked off with my relator. She starts screaming and threatening the SS and SM with lawsuits and such, but is cut off when an ambulance crew arrives, followed by the local police. The ambulance crew get the gurney prepped for me with the backboard and neck brace. Not that I needed it, but with the fall, they have to make sure I'm extra stable and taken in to see if I have anything wrong with my neck, back, or a concussion. They get me loaded and I'm waiting a few minutes when the police come back from the offices and ask me what I'd like to do. I can be a forgiving guy, usually given my mood and circumstances, but I was still hurting, in utter disbelief at what this lady did, and pissed off beyond all feeling. I let her have it. I told the officers I wanted to press charges for assault and battery if I could get it, as well as theft of my relator and my wallet. I'm not sure what all happened to the lady, although I know she didn't help herself out. As I was being rolled out the doors on the gurney, I saw her break away from the police, take a defensive stance, and then she started flailing and smacking the officers with her purse and arms, as well as kicking their legs with her pricey, name-brand pumps. It didn't take long before they had her face down on the ground, knees in her back, and the handcuffs becoming the next bit of bling around her wrists, looking oh so plain compared to her bracelets. I didn't have to do anything. About a week later, I got a letter from the county courthouse informing me that her case was already heard, the store video, SM, and SS testimony, as well those from a couple of other people who came forward after realizing what it was they saw and they walked past us, was more than enough to convict her. I don't know if she served time in jail or community service, but either way, I hope she got to be seen in something either bright orange or maybe an old-fashioned little black and white striped dress. The next story is titled Trespasser Demands Police. I'm a private security officer on the graveyard shift. I mostly do bicycle patrol, which means I'm riding from client property to client property doing nightly checks as opposed to sitting at a desk. One night, I ride up to one of my properties and see that there's a trespasser in the back corner of the parking lot. As I get closer, I can see that it's an elderly guy with a walker, and he has his pants down. I politely inform him that he's trespassing on private property and needs to move. He replies that he's stuck and demands that I help him get his pants back on. His expression and tone make it pretty damn blatant that he's saying this because I'm a female officer, and corporate says we aren't allowed to provide medical assistance under any circumstances anyway. So I tell him no, I'm not allowed to do that. He completely loses his crap at being told no, and starts screaming that I'd better either help him up or he's going to call the police on me. I tell him that I'll be happy to involve the police, and proceed to inform him that he is now officially excluded from the property. We're supposed to tell every trespasser that because it is a legally binding notice of trespass, but we usually don't because going off on a multi-paragraph legal spiel is really annoying and tends to escalate situations. But he said he wanted police, and that means I'm going to do everything by the book and write a full report. Needless to say, he gets madder and madder as I go through all the legally required points for exclusion, and then call the police, and pretty much goes off on a litany of completely uncreative insults that every security officer has heard 1,000 times already. I politely remind him that police are on the way, and that he will likely be arrested for criminal trespass if he is still here when they arrive. Redoubled litany of insults, still no new ones. Sigh. Whatever, have it your way. A police officer arrives, faster response than usual for a non-emergency call. It's an officer I've met before, because this parking lot is one of her favorite spots to park her cruiser and do paperwork while patrolling this side of town. I point out the trespasser and state for the record that he has been formally excluded. He unironically demands that she arrest me for harassing him, and goes off on her when she points out that I'm doing my job and he's trespassing. Note that the local police are generally very reluctant to actually arrest anyone just for trespassing. It's a lot of paperwork for what is ultimately a trivial misdemeanor offense. Legally speaking, if security has already issued an exclusion, the police can make an immediate arrest for criminal trespass without giving the person any further chance to leave, but they pretty much never do this. They will give trespassers every opportunity to just pack up and leave quietly, which is fine with us because we don't want to do more paperwork either, but annoys our corporate masters who would like to impress our clients by generating arrests for every single trespasser we catch. But this guy is stubborn enough to actually get arrested. The next story is titled I'm an adult consulting with you, not a child working for you. This was a couple years ago. I work for an engineering consulting company, and most of our clients are operational mines. My job sometimes involves visiting mines and collecting data or giving the clients recommendorians. Another important thing to know is I look very young. People often assume I'm 5 to 10 years younger than I am, and for some reason wearing a hard hat and safety glasses makes me look even younger. Also, my hard hat and safety vest have my company's name printed on them. When I was 26, I went on a site visit to a mine. I arrived, went through safety inductions, tied in with my contact, and started doing my job. There was a college intern working at the mine, and his behavior around me the first day was super weird. He accidentally took my radio, he accidentally put on the child lock on the door of the car I was riding in, he accidentally moved my work stuff from one area to another. At one point he asked me if I wanted to be an engineer, which was confusing, considering I was, at that very moment, working as an engineer at this property. I said something like, well, I'm really liking it so far, so yeah, I think I'll stick with it. Later on that day, one of the HR ladies saw me talking to my contact and said something along the lines of, oh, a new baby is here. Stop by my office for your paperwork. I'm obviously very confused and just awkwardly stand there. Suddenly my contact realizes what's going on and starts laughing and explains. Apparently the day I arrived was the day some high school interns were also arriving. HR assumed I was one of the interns, and the college intern thought he was hazing a high schooler by messing with me. That was my least favorite job site for a myriad of reasons, but at least I got some laughs out of it. The next story is titled Elementary Teacher Took Me to the Principal Office of a School I Don't Study at. I am in 11th grade, and my school is in another town 15 minutes from mine. So today a friend who lives in my town didn't come to school and he asked me to bring him something he forgot in school that he needs for the weekend. I took his thing and on my ride home, I left near his house to give it to him. On the way to his house, there's an elementary school that I used to study at until 8th grade. When I went past it, a teacher stopped me and asked me why I'm not inside the school area. I look kinda young, so I get why he might ask that, and also I wore my school bag. I told him that I don't study here, and that I haven't in the last 2.5 years. He told me he recognizes my face and that he knows that I do study here, and that I lie just cause I don't want to be in school. I once again told him that I don't study here and offered him to see my ID. He said yes, and I showed him. Then he said, "You are lying, I recognize this name from the school list." I said that it makes sense that you saw it at some point, cause I did study here in the past. In addition, in my country, you must be over 16 in order to get an ID, and this school is only until 8th grade, which means that they can't be 16. He told me that there are some students who are over 16 here, and told me to come with him to the principal office. I thought to myself, why not law? The principal knows that I don't study here, and that it'll be funny to see his reaction, and off I went with him to the principal's office. The teacher told the principal that he saw a student outside of the school area and brought me in. Now, I should note that when I was studying there I left school early a lot without permission, and mostly got away with no punishment because it was my last year at this school. The principal looked at me, then at the teacher, and then back at me. He said, "I just want to be named. Even after all these years of not studying here, you still find a way to sneak out with no permission, huh?" Then he said to the teacher that I didn't study here for the last 2.5 years and apologized for the misunderstanding. I told him it's fine. When I left the office, the teacher told me that I shouldn't walk outside of school in school time with a backpack if I don't study there, and I told him that what I did was completely fine and it's his problem for not knowing his students, and left. The next story is titled "Lady Thinks I Work at Disney Because I Was Trading Pins with My Daughter." So my family is very fortunate to live very close to Disney World. Every year, when they have their Florida residents 4-day passes, we go. This year my daughter and I decided to try pin trading. Our first day, we stopped outside of the entrance to Disney to use the bathroom. I waited outside with my 2 daughters, 3 years and 6 months, and decided to practice how to do the pin trading with my 3-year-old while we waited for my husband to come out. Let me also say I looked nothing like how the cast members at Disney looked. I had a Winnie the Pooh tank top on, black shorts, a Disney lanyard with pins, and on my back, I had an Ida bag full of pins. I didn't plan on trading. I also had 2 strollers in front of me. No one should have mistook me for a cast member. After doing some mock trading with my daughter, a little boy probably around 8 asked to look at my pins. I showed him the ones on my lanyard, since I keep all my pins I want to trade on there. He didn't seem too interested in the pins on my lanyard, but soon noticed my Ida bag. "Boy, can I see those pins?" Me, "Sure, but I don't want to trade these." I show him the pins in my bag and say again how I don't trade those. He soon spots a Nightmare Before Christmas pin that's actually my husband's. My attempt of trying to get him into pin trading too. "Boy, I want this one." Me, "I'm sorry, that one isn't mine to trade. You can pick any of these." I motioned to my lanyard, while trying to now keep my 3-year-old from running off into the park. I soon noticed the kid's mom coming towards me. I was a little relieved, hoping she would pull him away from me. "Mom, oh, are you trading? How fun." Boy, "Mom, I want that one, and she won't trade with me." Mom, "Well, she has to. It's Disney's rules." At this point, my anxiety had taken over. At Disney, the cast members have to trade their pins with anyone who asks to trade. Other guests do not. I sighed, trying to calm myself down. Me, "The cast members have to trade, but I do not. He can trade one of the ones on my lanyard, but my bag holds the pins I don't want to trade." Mom, "You're not an exception to the rule. Trade with my son or I'm going to report you to your manager." Me, "Do you seriously think I'm a cast member?" Mom, "You were just trading with that little girl, so it's obvious you are." Me, "I was just practicing trading with my daughter." Mom, "Wait right here. I'm going to get your manager and we'll settle all this out." I didn't say anything. I was so dumbfounded. I'm here struggling with a 3-year-old and a baby, and she thinks I'm working. All I could think is maybe she didn't actually think that. Maybe she was just trying to manipulate me to trade with her son. I don't know. My husband came out of the bathroom before she came back. I wasn't going to sit there waiting for her. Lucky Disney is big enough that I didn't see her the rest of the day. I'm still so confused, but at least it didn't get violent, and I was able to enjoy the rest of the day without anyone else thinking I was working there. If you enjoyed the video, please subscribe to the channel and post some bear emojis in the comments.